Beckatha. We're back again. Hi there.
Beckatha?
You're Beckatha.
Beckatha.
That's my new name for you.
Okay, you're Michaela.
You're Beckatha all along.
Oh, good.
And I'm Michaela.
Hello.
The hairdresser. I don't know.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Just reload.
Just going for it.
Oh,
I'm Becki Newton.
And I'm Michael Urie.
Hi. How are you?
Welcome back to our Still Ugly podcast.
Still ugly.
We're still
like,
ugly.
I don't know, 1 episode in, 70 episodes in?
I
Who
think
knows?
we're like, today, I think we're like 7.
This is episode
What number?
107 called Trust, Lust, and Must. That's the episode we'll be discussing.
That's the one we'll be discussing today.
Which was very fun to rewatch.
It was very, very fun. How are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to see you.
I like how unbuttoned you are. One more unbuttoned would be too many.
Can I confess?
Please.
I think this might be a lady's shirt. And it's definitely doesn't fit me. When I walked in, you said to me, "Your muscles look so big."
I did.
It's not the muscles; it's the shirt. Muscles couldn't be smaller.
Now, where did one acquire such a beautiful lady shirt?
I have no idea. It was in my closet. There's things in my closet in LA.
You don't know how they got there, Michael.
There's things in my closet in Los Angeles, in New York too, because I do live in both places.
Right. As one must.
As one must. And in LA, I have far fewer items of clothing because it's sort of like a pad, like a crash pad.
Crash pad when you
and this, I think, is Ryan's shirt, but it definitely doesn't feel.
Could it be Ryan's mom's shirt? I'm just wondering.
No. But I think so the reason that there's so few buttons buttoned is because this is the only way it will fit me.
Okay, and one more would just be weird.
And I have
one more would be like John Travolta in Grease.
One more?
That's a lot of information. You can button that back up. One more is too many.
It's very cold.
One more up, you're just saying it won't work.
No.
Can I see what it looks like?
Yeah. Look at it with one more up. This is, those of you just listening, I'm sorry, but look. And see, it starts to pull. Yeah,
I think you're doing everything right.
And then one down. I mean, this is sort of a no-no
That
anyway,
one just can't be buttoned.
This one would look like...
It would pop.
It would seem like some kind of apron.
Which we don't want. Anyway, I like your shirt.
Anyway,
and you look nice today.
If you're not watching us on YouTube, which you can do.
Yes.
Then you don't get to see. And you have a beautiful blouse, by the way.
Thank you.
I love these different patterns together.
Well, thank you so much, Dad.
Oh, yeah, I got to make sure you subscribe, like, link.
On YouTube.
We can watch us on YouTube, anywhere you podcast. Obviously, you're listening to this, so you know. But if you can subscribe and like us.
Please do that. We're so needy. We're so needy. We want to stay ugly for a really long time.
Stay ugly.
I plan on staying very
ugly. That's a good name for the podcast. Should we change the name?
Rename it. No.
I'm sure all the people who've worked so hard on branding.
Yes. I think we're still ugly and we shall stay ugly.
Stay ugly. Maybe that's how we should sign off.
Stay ugly.
Oh, yes. Stay ugly, y'all. This isn't the end, but later on, maybe we'll bring it back to this. In this episode, Mode Magazine is putting together the annual must list, but the office is distracted.
Wilhelmina's daughter, Nico, is acting out. Betty sells Herbalux at the office with her sister.
And Daniel flirts with a new hottie on the 27th floor.
Eventually, everyone comes to their senses, and I tell Daniel it's over between us. I will not be bribed with fancy jewels.
Brave.
So brave. Okay, wait. So what episode are we talking about
today? We're talking about episode 7, which is called Trust, Lust, and Must.
Good titles. They always had good titles.
Good titles.
I took it for granted because I'd never done a show before. So I was like, I thought like nifty little titles.
Yeah.
And most shows do have nifty titles, but not this nifty.
Friends, you know what Friends did?
No.
It's like a literal, the one where the gang goes to
like this would be the
shop
podcast where Michael wore his mom's shirt.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Maybe it's my mom's shirt.
Might be.
Maybe
this is totally Mary Frances' shirt. I could see her wearing it. Mary Frances, Michael has your shirt on. I'm going to tell her.
It could be.
Do you know your mom and I text, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that? Often it's about like quilting or making things. She's so cute. She's made blankets for my kids.
I know.
Yeah, she's made many things. I have many of your mom's creations in my house.
Jamie Babbitt directed this episode.
I remember her. You worked with her again, right?
On Shrinking.
Yes.
Love Jamie Babbitt.
I feel like I've worked with her on 1 or 2 other shows.
I'm sure
I don't remember which, but
She's
I remember
all
working
over
with
the
her
place.
Again.
She
Yes.
directed But I'm a Cheerleader, a great movie.
I didn't know that.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Love her. And we had some pretty amazing guest
This is the first episode where Salma appeared. Well, she had appeared within a telenovela in the pilot, but this is the first episode where she appeared as her character, Sofia.
You had it all played out in your head, didn't you? You, me, no one else here. We'd be on the floor, bodies sweating, rug burn on my back. Well, so much for that fantasy.
Do you remember when we found out she was doing an arc on the show?
I couldn't believe it.
It was a big deal.
A very big deal.
Yeah.
She's just Salma. Was she there in the table reads and all that in the beginning?
I want to say I don't remember her being like on set.
But was she there when we had like our pilot? I don't think so. I think we were in New York for the pilot part. I think she was around making decisions and all that, but maybe not on set until she started playing this character.
I'm trying to remember when I don't remember first meeting her.
I don't think I do either, but I remember marveling at how one person can have so much confidence. Like when she appeared on camera, it was just like, I just wanted to stare at her all day.
Yeah, she really is magnetic.
She's so magnetic and so easy and so just amazing. She's so amazing.
Very sexy.
Yes. She oozes sex.
Yeah. And like she's like a magnet. She just draws you. You just like kind of.
One time my husband and I were in New York and we ran into Salma, right? This was right when the show was popular and it was doing well. And we were in New York. And
where?
And we were at a party. We were at some event, in
yeah.
New York, and for whatever reason, I was there, someone was there, and I introduced my husband to her, and she hugged him, and he was like, "She smells so good." Like it was another one of those, she's just so Selma. She smelled so good. She's amazing.
The last time I saw her was at the Met Gala.
Oh.
We were on the red carpet for the Met Gala.
You looked so good at that Met Gala. I feel like this was the half and half.
Yeah, I was half man, half woman. And
incredible.
And it was, this is a bit of a tangent, but it was a very exciting experience.
And you saw Salma.
She was on the red carpet.
Just
she was there,
amazing.
looking amazing.
Like, of course. And just standing there, it's no big deal.
Because there's like super tiered, it's really tiered.
Yeah.
Some people don't have to walk the red carpet like J-Lo and Gaga. And some people, and then the rest of us are in the red carpet. And then there's like we're all like waiting it was like an hour where we waited and I was there with.
You're just like standing outside with all of these super famous people.
It's not in the elements, but yeah, you're like waiting to walk the red carpet.
And you're watching everyone walk it. Were you so nervous?
Well, you can't really see them walk it. And then the walking part was so brief. So brief. It's not like there's no interviews. You just walk.
And they're like, go, go. Like who was there saying like, go now?
Oh yeah, there was like tons of, and I was alone. I did not get a plus one.
But you were your own plus one. Because you were half one person, half another.
Nice.
So,
really good.
Someone was like, go.
But she had a plus one. And this is what I remember. I saw her. She was behind me. I think I heard her first. And I was like, I know that voice. And I turned around and I was like, I gotta say hi.
You have to say hi.
We worked together. She'll know me. And I said, hi, Salma. It's Michael from Ugly Betty. Do you remember me? And she goes, oh my God, how are you? What have you been doing? And then like we chatted for a bit and she's like, oh my God. And she's sort of like, we hugged and then she kind of put her arm and then she kind of like cut in front of me.
Oh, wish you went right in front of me.
I mean, it wasn't like a line. It was just like it was like a long path. But she sort of like, she was very happy to see me, very, very sweet. And then when we were sort of done chatting, she was in front of me.
That's
no longer behind me in line.
Funny. And her plus one was with her.
Yes, her husband.
Okay.
It was her
that's really funny.
It was really, really funny. But it was really good to see her. She looked, of course, amazing. And she was
the fact that she was even attached to the show was like this other element for all of us. Like, every person involved was so amazing. So the fact that we had this like huge movie star also who is appearing in it and producing it was just like another level of amazing. I
remember when the show was, even before she was on the show, I remember being at Target and walking through the aisles as I do at Target and hearing somebody recognize me. Like that when you're like walking and you can sort of tell someone's noticed you or recognized you.
Yeah.
This is a weird.
Was it Selma?
Somewhat famous person
in front of you?
To say.
Oh, no, it's okay.
But
yes, I know what you mean.
I guess like we should say to people at home, like when you're on TV, you're not like a Salma Hayek or like a household name. You're just like on TV and suddenly you're in people's living rooms and then you start getting noticed or recognized.
Yes.
And it's often like, how do I know that person? They're
well,
like,
I think with us, because no one would have known us from anything else. The idea is someone might have watched Ugly Betty on a Thursday night, Friday morning. They're in the toilet paper aisle with you at Target, right?
And I'm stocking up. And and I could tell I was being recognized. I could overhear whispers.
Aww.
And I heard someone say Salma Hayek. So even before she was on the show,
she was part of the launch of the show.
People knew her as part of it and I was being associated with her by strangers in Target.
Okay, that's amazing.
Even before she was on the show. You know who's not in this episode?
Who?
Mark and Delicato.
Not in it?
Justin Suarez does not appear in this episode. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I don't remember that being a thing, but I guess.
Don't you remember, though, there were episodes where you're like, oh, I'm not in very much or I'm in a lot. Do you remember keeping track of that in the beginning?
Yes, I do remember looking, when I would look at the script, I would look for my lines,
right.
And then I would go back and read the script.
Right, because you're like, what am I doing in this episode? Yes, I can remember that too, because there were some times, especially in the beginning, where we weren't in it very much.
Well,
like there were a couple that I was in, like I maybe had a line or two.
Yeah.
And you just try to kill that line
just
as
say
best
it
you can.
as slowly as possible so they can't cut away. Try to look in every direction so you
exactly
have to,
just appear. Okay, so Wilhelmina, here's what happens. Wilhelmina tells the staff to prep for Mode's annual must list, a list of the top fashion musts for the new year.
And there's this Ignacio immigration thing that's still going on.
Oh my
Hilda
God.
and Betty take him to an immigration lawyer, and it's going to be $20,000. So they suddenly have a big. He has an immigration problem. Now they have
a huge money problem.
really big money problem. And this, I love this. Hilda gets Betty to start selling Herbalux at work, which is so funny.
It's funny because you would never be allowed to now, ever. You can barely sell Girl Scout cookies on set. It's just like cross-promoting or something.
And I obviously, even as soon as she brings the idea up, I'm like, this is not going to work.
It's not a good idea.
And I'm sort of surprised Betty goes along with it, but they're desperate.
But it also shows Betty will do anything to support her family.
Yeah, that's true.
And also we've already established, Mark came to work. Remember little Mark comes to work
Justin,
with her?
Yeah.
Little Mark, little Justin came to work with her. So the family is allowed to show up at work.
Yeah, and it's also great for the show.
It's amazing
because
for the show.
Seeing Anna carrying that big cardboard cutout of a lady in a bikini is so funny. And then she has one of my all-time favorite Ugly Betty lines in this episode.
Tell me.
She's looking around the office at Mode, and she goes, "It's like a gay version of Star Trek."
Yes.
So funny.
Oh my God.
So funny, so accurate. There's also in this episode, Bradford goes into the crypt of Fey Sommers, and it is the tube. It's literally Mode's hallway. It's the tube. And this is not a knock on Mark Worthington, our incredible scenic designer.
Who is incredible, by the way.
Brilliant
We have
genius.
to get him on. I love him. We've stayed in touch over the years.
So I'm sure that this was the necessity is the mother of invention. They didn't give him a budget to build a crypt. So he said, well, what if Fey is buried in a crypt that looks just like the office that she loves?
It would make sense. It all makes sense.
But it's so much. It's literally the tube. It doesn't just look like it.
It is the tube.
It's literally they cleaned out the tube.
Took Amanda out of it
on a day we weren't shooting there,
and just
put a wall up, probably covering the donut, and you just see the hallway, and they put a coffin in the middle of it because you can hear. When Bradford walks in, you can hear he's walking on linoleum or whatever.
That's so funny. That is so funny. Okay, wait. Daniel's smitten with a stranger he meets in the elevator, Salma Hayek, and tries to seduce her. He later finds out she is Sofia Reyes, the editor of Mode's new magazine for women.
And an incredible best-selling author. And of course, she shows up, and Eric, Daniel
she doesn't
has
just
no
show
way.
up in the elevator. This scene is pretty amazing.
Yes.
The introduction of Salma Hayek.
It's quite a meet cute.
It's quite a meet cute. Her shirt comes off. Remember when she was changing in the elevator?
I'll never forget it.
You can see Eric.
I can see Eric and every member of the crew just outside of the elevator going, eyes like, whoa.
But why did I mean, that's where the Selma and her confidence and the way she carried that scene.
Yes.
Eric's jaw, I can't wait to talk to her. We're going to talk to him in a couple days. His jaw was on the floor, literally and figuratively. And it was kind of a neat moment to see Daniel meet off his game.
I wonder I can't wait to ask him. What did you think when you found out you were going to have a love interest?
Salma Hayek.
More Still Ugly after these words from our sponsors. Still there? We're still ugly.
Okay, where were we?
Back to the show.
The Nico stuff. So Nico is Wilhelmina's daughter.
Right.
She's a bad seed. She gets into lots of trouble.
Yes, and so
this
she's
idea,
back.
she's definitely like a chaos agent in Wilhelmina's life. And they've introduced that idea a couple times. Like Wilhelmina doesn't really want her around.
Right.
So there's a whole lot to figure out.
Great stuff about Wilhelmina's childhood in this too. We really hear, she talks about how she went to boarding school, all these different things. And Nico keeps getting kicked out of boarding school.
Right.
So we get the sense like, oh, Wilhelmina was sent away for her childhood. And that's what she's trying to do to Nico.
And it also, like, it says a lot. We learn about Wilhelmina, and Vanessa was always so incredible. Like, can be cold. Wilhelmina is so powerful, but you did get this sense.
Yeah.
Right away, Silvio was always so good at just introducing these nuggets of their backstories.
Yeah.
That there's a reason, and we'll find out more about them, but all these complicated characters had so many layers to them.
Yeah.
And he had so much compassion, even for the, like, evil, cold characters. Wilhelmina, she was capable of some pretty bad things, but also was this human way underneath it all. And he always was able to do that, show every side. Like, everyone was a little bit of a prism.
No, that was so poetic, Becki.
Thanks.
Everybody was a prism. Oh, I love that.
Really? I don't know if it's grammatically correct. Can you be a prism? I don't know. You know what I'm saying. Betty's ashamed, doesn't sell the Herbalux. Hilda storms down to Mode, and the sisters make a killing in the dining hall at lunch. Wilhelmina shuts down their operation and bribes Betty with a check to cover the legal fees, but Betty knows there would be strings attached.
Oh, so
amazing.
Yes, that is like, she just pulls out a giant checkbook.
The biggest checkbook
hilarious
ever.
Giant checkbook, and writes a $20,000 check.
Do we think Wilhelmina was, like, I just want to go to logistics here. Did she have access to the books like that? Like, I'm the head of a magazine. I have a checkbook, a Mode checkbook in my desk. I can just write checks.
You think that's a Mode check? I assume that was her personal check. I assumed she was using, because remember she got in big trouble for the
embezzlement, for the butt lift. So you think Wilhelmina's personal checkbook gets pulled out?
I think that's her personal checkbook, and she is giving her a personal check for $20,000. Because I guess creative directors get paid really, really well.
Do they?
That's
I'd love to know what
that's a lot of money to just write a quick check.
A quick check for $20,000.
That's when you got to call the bank and tell them.
You're like, I'm writing this. I need a couple days. Like, that's a good question. Yeah.
Oh, but okay. So real quick, there's a couple things that have happened here that I want to talk about that happened between Betty coming and trying to sell Herbalux and this check, which is we have two red alerts for racism.
No, just for this show was not afraid to be really offensive.
Yes,
like there were moments where Silvio, like, where it's like, wow. I think it's much more obvious watching it back now.
Yes,
we're like, whoa, we said that.
Yeah, I remember like we would say there would be racist things in the script, and we would be like, Silvio, are you sure you want us to say this? And he'd be like, yeah.
Yes. He was like, yes.
He loved like making, well, it's also like, these are bad characters.
These are bad characters saying really dumb, horrible things. So wait, what was your racism alert?
My character, Mark St. James, says that Betty is here selling Herbalux to earn extra pesos. And then, which is obviously racist. And then later when Hilda shows up at Mode, gay Star Trek, and then they set up in the cafeteria, and she's, they start really selling to all the Modies.
And doing really well.
Yeah, because it's 10 pounds. You only lose 10 pounds in 10 days.
And that's all people want at Mode Magazine.
And Wilhelmina shows up and she's like, what the hell is going on here? And Hilda starts to like talk back. And I believe the line that Wilhelmina says, oh, look, I think she says, oh, look, it's Cesar Chavez in a push-up bra about Hilda.
About Hilda.
Yeah.
What was Hilda's response?
I'm probably like,
compliment?
I don't know that she said anything, but knowing Anna, she probably had 10 things going on.
I know.
Oh, okay, so the Anna Ortiz is a genius.
Every episode has 10 Anna Ortiz is a genius.
This episode, it's when she meets Debi Mazar.
Right.
Who's so great.
She's always
great. Debi Mazar.
Again, the fact that Debi Mazar was a guest on our show.
That Debi Mazar was on this episode and not the biggest guest star.
That's crazy.
That was pretty cool.
And this was also around, now that I'm looking at this, like the show had been airing People were watching. Like, it was an exciting time. So I think that's when they started getting super cool guest stars. And that was something that continued, was like, every episode seemed to have someone incredible and amazing that in a million years I never thought we would be on the show with.
So the scene that Anna blew me away in this episode was when she's selling Herbalux outside of this drugstore, and Debi Mazar comes out. It's also where she gets yoga, or she gets yoga next door or whatever. Takes yoga. Gets yoga?
I heard
takes
yoga. Gets yoga. I think
yoga?
You actually do yoga.
Do yoga. She does yoga.
You could take yoga. I take yoga.
Yoga class. Or I take yoga?
What did you say? What did you say?
Gets yoga.
You're like,
That's
she does yoga. She does yoga next door. It's okay. You went to Juilliard. It's fine.
She does yoga.
She does yoga. Oh my God. So she was, okay, wait, continue.
Okay, so she goes out doing, she just does her yoga.
She visited the yoga
She just did
salon.
Yoga. And she comes out and and the owner of the drugstore or whatever is yelling at Hilda, saying, you can't sell your Herbalux here. And Debi Mazar comes out and she's like, I'm a lawyer and she can. Ever heard of freedom of assembly or whatever? And they become friends. And then Anna Ortiz, first of all, she's doing the saleswoman thing. And then the guy comes out and she's busted.
Yeah.
And then we see in her, as she's watching Debi Mazar defend her, this like emboldenedness, and it's like, you see like, this is so, she's like admires this woman, and then they talk a little bit, and then she gets a phone call from Betty, and she immediately transitions into, so how's the sales going? And she just plays like 6 things in like
all the time.
30 seconds.
Yeah, she's incredible because it was so much strength, so much vulnerability, and they were so close together.
And then like joy, and like competitiveness, like
but also mixed in with this like vulnerability that came with a little bit of insecurity, like all of these layers. And it's like she was always finding new ways in. She's incredible. I think very underrated in many ways. It's almost like you watch it back and go, oh my God.
So how you doing? Betty, what are your numbers?
Well, Christina bought $10 worth of protein bars. She likes the taste. Of course, she eats sheep's stomach.
$10? Great. Well, Dad could buy a set of maracas when he's sent back to Mexico. You're not wearing the secret weapon, are you?
Yeah. She's so real.
Yes.
I think that's what, she was above, she was larger than life, like the rest of us, but
so real.
So real.
Yeah.
Our facades were much, they were much thicker.
Like No, I think that's a good way to put it.
Were like,
yeah.
They were.
Do you think it's because we got to see her with her family? Maybe like, because sometimes our families, I mean, I know when your mom, played by Patti LuPone, comes in later, we see a whole
different
other
side. Totally.
And I think that's a big part of it. It's like people who are, when you're in work mode, like I know when I'm at work and people have never met my kids, they might see me one way.
Right.
But then if you come to my house and see me with my kids, it's like a different person in many ways. So
totally.
I think they're the beauty of our show is that you were able to see Betty with her family, Betty at work, and then the family at work. Just, it was brilliant. It was brilliant that Silvio knew right away to mix the worlds, to challenge the worlds all the time.
Well, and Hilda had never had to put on an air. I guess that's part of it too. It's like she never had to put on an air.
Yeah.
The way that anybody who works at Mode does.
Right.
Or works in fashion.
Yeah.
She never really left Queens.
Yeah.
She's using everything she's got, so she never really put on any kind of airs.
Huh.
Air?
We should ask her that when we talk to her. Like, did she ever feel like Hilda was putting on an air? Because sometimes with your own character,
interesting,
it would be.
Maybe she was. Sometimes.
Let's write that one down. Okay, wait. So what else is going on?
So these strings attached to this check, this comedy
there's always
check.
strings attached,
of course,
with comically large checks.
Yes.
But what do we like? So Betty, who desperately wants to save her dad, is always a little bit aware. A lot aware that Wilhelmina's up to no good.
Yeah, totally. And that she doesn't want to owe her anything.
Yeah.
Birthday surprise for Bradford. The masked woman is plotting this birthday surprise. And this is when he goes to the crypt.
Right. More the masked woman mystery. I do remember at this point when this was all airing, everyone's like, who's the lady in the basement with the bandages? Like it was people were trying to figure out what that was about.
Yes.
Right?
They wanted people to think it's Fey and she's not dead.
Right.
And you even see somebody running around the crypt.
Right.
In the shadows, and he's like, Fey.
That's good. That's a good Alan Dale.
Fey.
Fey Sommers. Fey.
Fey. He had to say Fey so many times.
I loved Alan Dale. Betty gets too drunk with Christina, confronts Ignacio about a photo of her mom holding another man's hand.
Yeah, this was really...
Ignacio refuses to tell her who the man is.
Yeah, so they're going through these old pictures and they see a picture of their mom that's clearly been ripped.
Yeah.
And he says it's an old boyfriend. And they're all they're like, what do you mean old boyfriend? Anyway, we find out eventually Ignacio admits. Well, this scene where she confronts him, she's a little tipsy and she confronts him is just the acting.
It's hard to act drunk.
Work. It's so hard to act drunk.
So you act drunk really well.
Well, that's because I'm actually drunk.
You are drunk all the time. No, it's hard because it's like, it's so easy to overplay drunk. And now I'm remember there was one episode where we were at Betty's house having margaritas. Speaking of overplaying, all I remember is all I had to do was walk away from the table and go to the bed. But I think I got up, burped, and fell off the bed. And everyone's like, Becki, I don't think anyone acts like that when they're drunk. I
love this. Are you kidding?
Do you remember? It was the Tom Verica episode. I remember it was the one where it's an odorless, colorless gas. When we're talking about how to kill Kimmy. Remember? Lindsay Lohan. Remember that one? Okay, this is episodes and episodes away. I totally
remember you saying
it's an odorless, colorless. And they're like, we're not going to kill someone. But I was supposed to be drunk in that episode, so of course I did 100 things too many. But anyway, back to this. Yes,
Tom Verica, the director?
Yes, he was incredible. He was on American Dreams, which I loved. So memorable for me because I loved the show he was on. Anyway, that's in season 3 or 4.
We had a lot of directors.
We have. Okay, wait. So America confronts him. It's amazing. And we find out that he's got this deep, dark secret. It is incredible looking back that Papi, Ignacio, had such a dark past because he was such a loving, amazing, dependable Papi. He was... And again, Silvio, how brilliant is that the most stable, loving, consistent character has this very complex past.
It's also telenovela-y to give, and I wonder when Tony's on, I wonder what it must have been like to find out. Because it's like, when you're doing TV,
we don't know these things until we read the script.
And they don't know necessarily when you start a show.
Yeah.
That if you're, I remember when Chris, your husband, was on 24, and he's like, and I'm like, are you a good guy or are you a bad guy? Because that show was always like you didn't know who was good and who was bad.
Know.
And he didn't know.
Because if you tell someone, they might play it. It's like, you don't want to tell someone too much because then you might play into it a little bit. But it is good to know as an actor. What's up, Modies? We have a special sneak peek of our interview with the amazing Tony Plana. Here's what he had to say about learning more about Ignacio's fabulous backstory. I got the sense that Ignacio, if he had to, could kick some ass. It was, and I think there was power there. How can you be making an omelet, but also...
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Tell.
Of when I actually come out to both, America and Anna.
That you don't have a social security number.
Right. No. And the backstory of the mother and that I killed.
Yes.
Ramiro.
We just watched that episode.
Yeah,
oh my God. I love that scene. And I just, I remember just feeling so satisfied by that scene and allowing people to see where we come from and who we are, but to see that Ignacio has a deeply, rooted sense of justice, and he's a rescuer, and he saw this woman in distress, fell in love with her, she fell in love with him, and when it got the way it got, it was like, okay, here's survival, and then we go.
Yeah.
And we never look back. I think that's one of my lines. I never look back.
Yeah.
And so it just revealed an aspect of him that I think deepened him.
Yeah.
Do you remember reading that in the script when that arc began? Do you remember being surprised?
I felt such responsibility to deliver that scene effectively. I think I was one of those, those things where I really felt nervous in doing that scene before we did it, and then watching it and feeling like I did it justice, like I served it.
Okay, wait. Sofia proves too much for Daniel. He vents about his failed seduction to Amanda. Amanda is hurt, tells Daniel it's over between them.
That was you played that scene so beautifully. The scene in the bed where you think he's apologizing to you or talking about apologizing to you.
And he's talking about her.
Her.
The gift there.
Yeah.
Was it when someone, finally Amanda's like, I'm repulsed by you. How... It maybe was a huge turning point for Amanda to finally say, because they really show, Amanda took a lot, as far as with Daniel.
Yes.
She pretended she was okay with a lot of things, probably wanted to appear easy, thinking maybe eventually he'd figure out how amazing she was. I think at that point she was like, go F yourself. Can I say it? Can I say fuck? I don't know if I can. But she's like, dude, no. No, you can't do that. And it was a big turning point, I think, for the character in this show. I think
she gets up and leaves.
She could have been gone from the show forever, no more Amanda. And instead, it's like, no, Amanda is going to assert herself.
Yeah.
And still exist in this world, but not be part of Daniel's world. And that might be something that they hadn't planned from the beginning. And I'm so lucky it became part of the trajectory.
So the whole apology thing was about her, not me.
What do I have to apologize to you about?
Nothing. I guess. I'm not feeling too well. I think I'm gonna go.
You okay?
Yeah, I think I feel one of those 24-hour flus coming on. I should go before I get you sick.
Because he could have fired her and said, fine, we're done. And
right.
I would not be sitting here with you, still ugly, a million years later. Hilda may have a lead with a lawyer, Debi Mazar, that she meets outside of her gym. Ignacio comes clean to Betty and Hilda, tells them the reason he never applied for a green card is because he murdered their mother's first husband, an abusive, wealthy man. The sisters are in shock.
Yeah, so we find out not only were they deceived about their mother's romantic life pre-daddy, Poppy, but she was married. And I love that Betty uses her work equipment to zoom in on she brings the photo to work and uploads it and zooms in on it. But she actually, mom was married before. And it turns out Ignacio was the family cook. And she was married to an abusive man. And now this is what I don't remember. And we're rewatching the show, audience. We are rewatching the show with you.
Yes.
And
what don't you remember?
I don't remember.
I'm nervous.
I feel like the guy that he killed isn't dead, and comes back later. It's that
this
whole
is ringing a bell.
Soap opera thing.
It's
if you don't see a body,
soap opera-y.
Yeah. If you don't,
we
see
don't
the
know because he fled. But I know what you're talking about.
I feel like he might still be alive. Anyway,
okay, wait.
Poppy thinks he's a murderer, and now so do we.
But is it okay? He saved mom. He saved.
Of course, it was self-defense.
But again, Silvio, how brilliant he is there was nothing was ever that clear. Nothing was ever and here's how we should feel about this. It was all really complicated.
Yeah, and also I think I love this about. I remember watching this episode again and seeing the way that they tied up this Nico and Wilhelmina storyline. That Wilhelmina always wins.
Yep.
And she and Nico has this great way to finally get attention and finally stick it to her mom. And what does Wilhelmina do? She makes whole
it a PR
must issue about fur.
Yeah.
She's like, you want to talk about fur? Let's talk about fur.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Really,
so smart.
I know, so smart. I don't remember, by the way, that scene at all.
Really?
I have no recollection of this.
I do.
You remember shooting that scene in some rotunda?
Yes. It's echoey. I vaguely do.
Interesting. I have no memory of that at all. And we're there. We're both there.
Yeah.
And I don't remember Vanessa in a fur. I didn't remember this.
So this is where the memory starts to fade.
Yeah.
Remember we were saying in the beginning we remembered everything.
It was also vivid.
But this is where the show was airing. There was so much happening around the show at this point.
I also remember like this, the bigger the scene, I think we've talked about this, but the bigger the scene, the more people in it.
And the longer it takes.
Then the longer it takes. And this was a huge scene with a ton of people.
Right.
A lot of background actors.
And a big like spectacle scene, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not sitting in an office. This is a stunt in a way.
Yeah.
And that,
But I don't remember being there. I don't remember.
Is it because you had less to do in the scene and therefore you weren't paying attention as much?
Maybe. But I did have, and actually this leads into my top look of the. I had a really cute sweater on.
Talk to me about the sweater.
It's like a really colorful striped number, but I think they had me tuck in my shirts, my sweaters.
Always so tucked. You had 5 layers tucked in at all times.
I don't remember that sweater. I don't remember that day, but I remember the sweater.
Wow.
And I remember starting to having to tuck in sweaters, and that was really annoying.
And I also remember sometimes I'd look at you and I'd see like sweat dripping off your forehead, and I was like, he must be hot. And then I'd look, and you'd have a shirt, a button-down shirt, a tie, really, really tight with the like big ascot knot, a sweater, and cinched in to high-waisted pants, belted. I mean, you were tucked in there, and I was always naked.
And you were wearing short shorts.
All the time.
And a bra.
That was the booty short phase of just like little tiny shorts.
And they'd give you like a warming coat in LA.
I would get a warming coat, yeah. But the shorts were like, they looked like pot holders. You know, the things you use to like.
Yes.
Do they call them pot holders still? Trivet holders, cozies. You know what I'm talking about. The thing you put on your hands to like not burn yourself.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Pot holder?
It's a pot holder, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
just
so.
wondered if I was like.
The trivet's what you put it on.
And a pot holder is what, or an oven mitt.
Yeah.
But if it's a square.
You know what a transom is?
No. What's a transom?
It's a window above a door between rooms. It's between rooms.
Why would you have a window above your door?
For airflow. Anyway.
A transom? Did you make that up?
No.
You
real.
just made that up.
No,
now I'm going to go repeat that word and people are like, a transom, you're alleging that a window above a door.
Within a building,
does it open?
2 interior rooms. It can open.
I think you're lying.
For airflow. And it can just be for light. We have 2 in our apartment in New York.
How many people unsubscribed right now from that?
Okay.
Okay.
What was your favorite look? I really enjoyed that. I mean, of course, I loved the when Sofia takes her shirt off and turns a blazer into a whole look. That's fantastic.
Yeah, to me that's like that scene where we introduced Sofia was very, very memorable. Not just what she was wearing, how she was wearing it, right? Like how she navigated her physical self in that moment in the scene with him. I was just like, I found her incredibly magnetic, incredibly beautiful, and incredibly powerful. So yeah.
What was your waterworks moment this episode?
My waterworks moment, I don't know that I had a waterworks moment. I would say like a meaningful moment would have been Amanda going, "Oh, Daniel, no." Like, I found that to be very powerful for her.
When she gets up and puts her clothes back on.
It's both sad, but also like she's done with that. And I think that's a good pivotal moment for that character. What about you?
And that was going to be mine.
Really?
You getting out of the bed all sad while he's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Complaining about Sofia.
So mean.
And you're like,
who does that?
Him.
Yeah.
Him, that's who. We're going to, when he comes on the show.
We're going to let him have it.
More Still Ugly after this short break. Still there? We're still ugly.
Okay, so anyway, do you want to play a game?
Okay, Becki, I would love to play a game. Today's game is our version of the must list. We're talking about what are the things each character from the episode can't live without. What's something you can't live without?
Can I live without a thing? We're not going to talk people. It's not like children or cats and dogs and turtles and stuff. We're talking things.
I think things. Things, yes.
And
things.
not coffee, because that's not a thing. We're talking like a material object.
I was going to say Celsius, but I guess you can say not coffee.
Oh, so it's coffee for me. But are we going to, what about a physical thing, like a thing? Is there a thing you can't live without? I guess my little black purse that I always throw over my shoulder, my cute little purse that I wear everywhere.
Yeah, I would say
probably. I get very
like,
unnerved if I don't have that.
Oh, interesting.
It's just always around my shoulder, my stuff in it.
Yeah. You know what I like is, I don't have any on me, they're over there, but I like Listerine strips.
I thought we were talking about material objects.
That's material. It's literally made of a material.
I think we're going the more super fit. Like, tell me about a shirt that you love. Tell me about
my mom's shirt that I'm wearing right now.
You can't live without Ryan's grandma's shirt.
That I've never worn before.
I like whose is this? I'll wear it.
I'll put it on.
Button to here. You can't live without your grandmother's shirt.
I'm going to go with, I've never been able to. You know what I do have that's really cool that I got a props to my mother-in-law, Ryan's mother. She gave me this really cool leather thing that it has pouches and it for chargers. So when I'm traveling, which I travel a lot, I can put in my computer charger, my phone charger into this thing, and it's really slick and it has my name on it.
That's very sweet. And I must say, and this is an advanced compliment for later, you are not someone who's very attached to things. The fact that you don't know where your shirt came from shows me, it's not like you're like, where's that one thing? You do seem very free of attachment to like things. You've always been that way.
Yeah, kind of.
You kind of end up with a shirt from a set. You're like, this is nice, but it's like you just flow through it all in a very easy way.
Okay,
what's our game?
I will tell you the name of a character from the episode and prompt you about what's at the top of their must list based on this episode. Let's see if you can guess.
Okay, wait. I think I have to ask the questions because I'm going to fail. Did you already see the answers? Can I ask the questions? I'm going to fail. I'm going to get this so wrong. Okay. I just tried to steal your test.
That's so funny. And you gotta.
I was like, okay, you can take it back. Oh, shoot.
Here we go. Nico Slater eats the same breakfast cereal throughout this episode. What is her must-have breakfast cereal?
Captain Crunch.
That is incorrect.
What is it?
It's Cap'n Crisp.
Oh, I knew I was close,
You couldn't clear Crunch. You were very close.
Okay.
That was right. And in fact, that's what's written here, but this is incorrect.
Oh, wow.
I'm fact-checking the fact-checkers.
Okay.
Only because I love, and I wrote it down in my notes.
You love Captain Crunch.
I love, it's Cap'n.
Right. We've had a lot of craft service moments where we're like, you love Captain Crunch too? Like
Captain Crunch is incredible.
Do you remember the peanut butter and jelly with the crust cut off and white bread that Billy would make from craft service?
Yes. Oh, and Billy's on Lincoln Lawyer.
And he's like, hey, Becki, how are you? First thing in the morning, I get my peanut butter and jelly with the crust cut off.
So let me ask you this.
I haven't changed a lot.
Let me ask you this.
Tell me.
Do you enjoy an Uncrustable?
No.
Not the same?
No, it just feels too manufactured.
I see.
Do you remember the Snicker Bite bowl that we were like, what do you want to do? Let's go find the candy bowl. And we would go hang out and hover by the candy bowl. And we thought because they were small, we could have 5,000 of them.
There was something about, obviously we're both trim and thin people, but there was something about working late at night.
Oh, yeah.
That made me think like calories don't count.
Well, because what people don't know is your lunch break isn't necessarily lunchtime. So when you're on a set, 6 hours after you start is lunch. On Ugly Betty, there were times where we would start at 4 p.m.
Yeah, right.
So
lunch
6 hours later, it's 10 p.m. We're like, Thai food? Absolutely. And that means the late meal is like 3 or 4 a.m. when the pizzas would come in. And you're like, this doesn't count. It's a dinner break.
I have
even
acid
though one
reflex
doesn't.
Just hearing this
we were
story.
Disgusting. And then we would drive home at 6 in the morning.
Just like
disgusting. Like, I don't know what I've eaten.
And like
100 Snicker Bites later. And they would always be in the pockets of my sexy trench coats. Candy wrappers. Disgusting.
And like bleary-eyed. I can remember
What day is it? Am I supposed to go to bed?
When you get home, let me ask you this.
Yes.
When you get home late, whether it's like a night out.
Doesn't happen. But
or, like working late.
Yeah.
Can you go to bed immediately?
Yes.
I cannot.
That's the adrenaline Broadway thing in you. Chris is like that too, where it's like, it's so exciting when you're on stage at 11 p.m. You do that for a year straight, even when your show ends.
Yeah.
At 11 p.m., you're still like excited, right?
Even last night when I rolled in at 1 a.m. after flying from New York, I couldn't go right to bed.
But isn't that jet lag? Wouldn't that be because it's only 10?
It was not. It was 4 a.m. for me.
Well, aren't you right? That's
true. I did pass out on the plane for a little while, but like I got home and I had to watch My Lottery Dream Home.
Oh,
I had to watch an episode of My Lottery Dream Home before I could go to bed.
I can understand
and
that.
Even then, I got into bed and I was kind of awake.
Yes.
Do you ever watch My Lottery Dream Home?
No, but I got into this show called I Wrecked My House. Help Me, I Wrecked My House. It's amazing.
That sounds
it's so good. They really do wreck their houses.
Question number 2.
Oh, God.
Christina pounds an impressive drink at the bar. What's her must-have drink for letting off steam after work?
Okay. I'm going to go something in the Scotch beer, vodka, all mixed together. It was like, was it something gross mixed together?
Yes, she drops a shot of scotch into a beer.
Yes, I knew it was something like that.
Yes,
Okay.
and then she downs it. It's a Boilermaker.
Was that a real drink?
It's scotch, right? You drop a scotch.
I think I just remember.
Yeah. No, that's
so it's
a
a
thing.
real drink.
It's a thing.
Okay.
There's also a sake bomb. Have you ever had one of those?
No.
That's when you drop a shot of sake into a Sapporo or a Japanese beer.
I would combust
The
if I had
first
that.
time I had one,
The first time
my friend
was 5 minutes ago.
my friend, I'd never had one before, and it was a big glass of Sapporo, which is this, like delicious Japanese
beer, right?
And you put the two chopsticks over like train tracks on top of the glass.
I've seen this.
And you put the shot of sake on it, and then you bang the table, and it falls in, and you chug it.
The banging the table sounds fun.
It's so fun. And then we had one, and then the second time, I was setting up my chopsticks, and he just poured his in, and I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, you don't have to do it with the table
You're like,
banging.
but yes, you do. You need the whole thing.
And I was like, oh. Okay, number 3. I'm going to give you partial credit.
Okay, partial credit. Good.
Hilda
I knew it was something poured into something.
Hilda encounters the lawyer Leah Feldman outside the gym a couple of times, and she's always carrying the same gym accessory. What is Leah Feldman's must-have at the gym?
Yoga mat.
Excellent. Question 4. Daniel tries to apologize to Sofia using a tried and true method. What is Daniel's must-have apology item?
Flowers, wine, champagne, chocolate.
It's the...
Wait, major plot point. Wait, the necklace. The necklace. Oh my God, yes, the necklace.
But it's not just, this is where he goes so horribly wrong. It's not just an apology. It's for any occasion.
Oh.
And that's when you have one.
It's his go-to apology
Yes.
necklace.
But also his go-to romance necklace.
Which means he just gives them out.
Yeah, like he says to you or something like, do you think a necklace is a nice gift? And you're like, yes, I love mine.
Right.
And that's when he realizes. And then when he gives it to Sofia, she sends it back.
That dumb?
Well.
Like, that's just so dumb. You're like, I'm just going to hand this out.
He gives one to Sofia and she sends it back. And he's like, what gives? Why'd you send it back?
And she was like, because I'm not going to be one of your Daniel Meade girls.
What do you mean? And then it turns out Sofia's assistant has one.
He just doesn't even remember.
He's like, I thought you looked familiar. He does that great whisper thing.
Oh.
Okay, question number 5. Hilda believes in the power of a special pin she wears when selling Herbalux. What does Hilda's must-have pin say?
Ask me about Herbalux.
Good guess.
I don't know. Pass. What does it say?
It says lose 10 pounds in 10 days.
But in the pilot, she wears a pin that says "Ask me about Herbalux."
Maybe you're right.
Partial credit?
If
it's an answer.
I'm going to say no. I'm
Okay,
going to
good.
say,
Okay, no problem. All right,
judges,
good. That's fine.
No, we can't.
Okay, no credit for that one.
So you don't get the prize today, which is another Topo Chico. I'm sorry.
Yay! Okay, fine. I'll just finish mine.
You just have to drink this one,
That's
which you
fine.
barely had.
Okay, I think I did really well in this game.
Okay, should we do confessions?
Yes, fan confessions. Time to hear from the fans. I do love this part of the show.
Okay,
I love
yes, it's so
hearing from you.
great. Send us your questions, dirty little secrets, ask us advice, whatever you want. You can email us at stilluglypodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can leave us a message at 347-480-1821.
Standard text messaging rates apply. I don't know if that's a thing.
No, I like that. That's fun.
very-
That just sounds fun. Today we have a confession. This confession actually comes from a Reddit user using the handle apprehensive. What's that thing called? A lower slash?
Underscore.
Apprehensive _trip 352.
They say the reason I rewatch Ugly Betty is because of Wilhelmina Slater. At first,
later.
At first, I identified most with Betty, especially as a teenager. I also wasn't considered conventionally attractive at that time. But as the years have gone by and I learned more about Wilhelmina's backstory, I began to identify with her more. Also, she had some of the best lines in the show. I understand her frustration with the nepotism in the magazine industry. While not all aspects of her character have aged well, some of the gay jokes are really early 2000s, I think overall her character is still relevant today. That's so interesting.
And also a very articulate question.
Yes, thank you. Apprehensive _trip
54321. So here's the thing. Wilhelmina, from the very beginning, she goes nuts because she works her butt off.
Yes.
She's come so far. And Daniel Mead, simply because he's related to Bradford Mead of Mead Publications, gets the job.
Right.
Horrible, because he also is not good at his job.
Anytime.
He can't even keep track of the girls he's given necklaces to. And she's
Totally.
like overhauled this magazine. She's got, oh my God, you're throwing things.
Sorry.
She's got all this talent. So this nepotism thing is something from the beginning that she's really struggling with.
Yes.
And has to overcome. So she's like, well, if my hard work isn't going to get me the job, now I'm going to be evil in other ways and have to sort of like do, like sneaky things. And because if we look at it, she had a great eye. She was always shown to be the best
talented.
at
Absolutely.
what she did.
Yeah.
She could run photo shoots. She would run the meetings.
Now, she did have a senator for a father.
She did. Okay.
So there is, I mean, that's not nepotism in her business, but that's definitely privilege.
Right.
But she's a Black woman.
Yes, she's a Black woman running a magazine.
Yeah. So she definitely
did you just burp in your own mouth? I'm just going to confirm. I heard something travel up. I saw your eyes go wide, and now you're hiding in shame.
I had the beef on the plane.
You had beef on the plane?
And I also...
Do you remember once we were on a plane, speaking of, and we were flying back from New York, from LA to New York for something, and you were sitting on that side and I was on this side. And were really excited because you bought something at the restaurant.
Was with us too.
Chris was with us. Well, you bought something at the airport restaurant and you were like, ooh, I'm so excited to open my noodles.
It was like a pre-made noodle meal.
It was a pre-made noodle meal. And you got there and you put your little tray down and you opened it up. And it was a very pungent odor. And the woman behind you was sitting next to a little girl.
Right across the aisle.
I thought she was right behind you.
No, we were in the very back row.
We were in the very back. And okay, so she was sitting very close to you. You opened it up and you were just so excited because you'd been talking about how hungry you were. You were so excited about it. And it was such a strong smell that her little girl started gagging. Like, and she goes, and she was looking back at you.
And Chris thought it was hilarious.
We were dying laughing because we were watching it.
Smelly.
It was so smelly, but you didn't really notice. But the girl was gagging. The mom was getting upset. And then she turns to you. Do you remember what she said?
Yes.
She goes, hey, you either eat it or end it. And you went, what? And she goes, that's disgusting. My daughter is throwing up. And you're like, oh my God.
You're killing us.
She goes, you're killing us. And the daughter was like, whoa. And it was so funny. And you were so mortified.
That daughter now has a 401k. That woman, whatever that child was like 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God. I wonder if she still remembers how bad your food smelled. If
when
we were to find this
assholes
girl,
from Ugly Betty
like,
sat in the back of the plane eating shit food. But they sold it at the airport. I always felt like the airport betrayed me.
Did you not notice the smell? Or did you like the smell?
I was eating it, so it was like...
Yeah, when you eat something smelly, you're like so used to it.
Yeah, so when it's like...
Eat it or end it is one... I still use that line. Like, eat it or end it.
I had forgotten that part. Eat it or end it. And then I was also like... I thought that
so
they were so rude. They were very rude.
You were like, mm-hmm. And then we just had to all...
And I kept the lid on and I would go... I would open the lid, eat quickly, and then close it again. And then I threw it away. I had to shove it down those little tiny garbage cans on the airplane.
The whole back of the plate smells like your food.
And after I threw it away, I went and I gave them a really gooey apology.
And she was like, it's fine. My daughter is just sick. And we're like, okay. You tried really hard, which made it even funnier because she was not having it.
I was like, I'm really sorry. And the little girl was like, she looked like she had consumption. Like she was so
sick.
Wounded by this.
It did smell pretty bad, but I'll never forget that story.
I wonder what it was. Some kind of pesto.
It was the smelliest food ever. Anyway, so that I don't know what that had to do with Wilhelmina and nepotism, but thank you for your confession. Trip 54321. What was it? Apprehensive _trip 352.
Also, I think it's really cool because Wilhelmina is yes, she had a senator, a father, but she is also a self-made woman. She worked her way up, and she was overlooked.
Yes,
for this position, and even though she's evil and uses her power for her own personal gain, she's ambitious and she's a strong, confident, powerful, attractive businesswoman, and I think there is something in Wilhelmina to admire.
Yes.
So thank you, Apprehensive.
I think we should say something nice about each other.
You go first.
You make me happy when you fly in from New York and I get to see you.
Oh, Thank you. You make me happy. I think you're nice for not mentioning that my facial hair growth is at a weird stage.
No,
today.
I like it. You look great.
I think it's at a weird stage.
Do you know what it is? I'm not noticing it because of Ryan's mom's shirt. It's so powerful and impactful and unbuttoned that I didn't even notice your facial hair. But now it's all I'm going to look at.
It's not long enough for it to be interesting yet. It's like this
it's just
weird.
stubble. It's cute. I like it. I dig it.
I'm growing it out for shrinking, and I just like, I don't know. I don't love it. I just like being clean shaven.
Come back to us next time.
Thanks
Goodbye.
for listening.
Still Ugly is filmed at Rabbit Grin Studios.
Produced by Rabbit Grin Productions.
Music by the one and only Jeff Beal.
Executive produced by Rob Hollis, Jeff Porter, Natalie Hollis.
Creative producer Jesse Thurston.
Video edit and mix master by Chris Faller.